Well, the jobs of thousands of steelworkers in South Wales could be secured today if they vote for reforms to their pensions. The results have just come in, and they have voted for those reforms, and they voted overwhelmingly, in fact, for them as well. Let's turn to Rebecca Williams, who's our correspondent on the scene live in Port Talbot. Rebecca, welcome to you. Something like 72% to 27%, so well in favour.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these results now. I'd say probably about 74% have voted in favour, 25% or so against. But this has been an ongoing saga here in Port Talbot. Over the last couple of weeks, 10,000 workers have had the option to take part in this ballot. The results back in literally the last minute or so. They have now agreed to a deal with Tata, which owns the steel plant behind me, and this will mean that there is guaranteed investment over a period of 10 years. Both blast furnaces will be kept open for 2 years, and jobs will be secured. But of course this comes at a cost. This comes at a cost to pensions, and it means that the final salary scheme will now be scrapped, and a defined contribution scheme will be set up in its place. Now this has been highly controversial. Many people saying to me that they've had enough of the unions. They don't feel that they can trust them. There has certainly been a lot of friction over the last few months or so. And one person yesterday saying that they feel that they've been sold down the river. I think in particular it's fair to say that the older generations have voted against these plans, this deal, and the younger generations who've got families to support have been in favour of them. One man yesterday said he didn't know how his pension would be affected. He's worked at the plant for 26 years, and he would, if he had a vote, have voted no. But this is the result of this ballot that's come in. We understand about 74% of employees who voted in the ballot have voted yes.
Rebecca, thanks very much indeed. Tata Steelworkers have voted to accept cuts in their pensions in order to secure thousands of jobs. The India-based company, which had been planning to sell its loss-making UK operations, then offered to invest £1 billion in the Port Talbot plant in South Wales with no compulsory job losses, but only if workers agreed to sacrifice part of their pensions in return. Let's turn to Rebecca Williams, who joins us live now from Port Talbot. Rebecca, welcome to you. So a poll overwhelmingly in favour of reforms to the pension, and you get, perhaps unsurprisingly, a division between those older pensioners who wanted to keep the status quo because that probably was in their favour, it kept the pensions high, and younger members of the pension scheme who fancied the change because they have years of employment to look forward to.
Yeah, and young families, I think that's very much fair to say, but it has been very split here in Port Talbot. Of course, they've faced uncertainty for the best part of a year now, and today, as you say, they voted pretty decisively. I think the overall figures around 74% for this deal and about 26% against, and it basically means that jobs will be secured. There'll be £1 billion worth investment in the plant over the next 10 years, and both blast furnaces will be secure, but that comes at a huge price to people's pensions, and lots of people I've spoken to say they've voted today with a heavy heart. They will get smaller pension payouts in the future. I'm joined now by Alan Coombs, who is a steel worker and also part of the community union here, representative. And you know, what's the atmosphere in there today?
Well, this is by no means a victory for anybody. This is not a situation anybody wanted to get themselves into. Unfortunately, there's still a degree of anger there and a degree of resentment that people have had to make this decision. But as you mentioned, the workforce have voted, and they voted to support the steel industry going forward because they see that as being more important. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are going to suffer, when they come up to draw their pension going forward.
And what does this mean for the likes of you? How will it affect you?
Well, for argument's sake, I've got to make a decision whether I work an extra 5 years or I'm prepared to take a cut in my final pension. It's not a situation I want to be in, and it's not a situation anybody within the works wants to be in. Family suffers, everything suffers, your home life, but the reality is you've got to have a job at the end of the day for it. But it doesn't mean it's an easy pill to swallow, it's not.
And some people are telling me that they are angry with the unions as well.
Yeah, I can understand where they come from in some respects, but at the end of the day, it's a decision that the workforce have made, and we've been pushed into this decision, and they have made the decision to support the industry going forward, and we've got to respect that decision.
Okay, thanks very much for joining me. Well, we are yet to hear from Tata positive news, you would think, from them. But of course, for the workers here, this is a huge compromise. They stand to lose a lot of money from their pensions in the future. And certainly a lot of the people I've spoken to, pensioners as well, who've given their lives to these steelworks, who've worked here for decades, are very frustrated, very angry, and they certainly won't be happy with this yes vote today.
Thanks, Rebecca.